Hello, and welcome to another edition of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm your host for today, Senior Writer Will Weissbaum, and I will be taking you to a faraway galaxy that's part of the Star Citizen universe, and I will be exploring some of the history and lore and setting that takes place there that you yourself will one day get to explore in-game. It's very exciting. Thank you to all out there for supporting the project, as well as to subscribers for supporting wonderful videos like this. So let's take a look right now at our wonderful star map, which is available today on the website for you to go click on and follow along yourself. So make sure you do that. We are heading to today's star system, Baker. B-A-K-E-R, Baker. I did a search. Oh, found it. Look at that, 2 stars, that's right. Baker is a binary star system. It's quite exciting. Most star systems in our universe are binary and trinary stars, so it's nice to have one in Star Citizen. We have a couple of them, but this one is in the UEE. It is an unrepresented system, so it doesn't have any Senate seats yet. And it's a pretty barren and desolate place. The reason why it's unrepresented is that there isn't a lot going on here. The 2 main focal points that we have for kind of civilization are, let's zoom in one at a time. Yeah. Are Xenia, which is a Covalax shipping hub, which we'll talk a little bit about more later, and Geo, which is a mining base. So we'll take a look at those. But really, the most exciting part about the Baker system will probably be the underground race, the Able Baker Challenge. So that'll be coming up as well. Basically, I'm enticing you to stick through the next couple minutes, so bear with me. As we talked about, this is a binary star system. Both are K-type main sequence stars. Look at them, they're beautiful. And the planets circle in an orbit that's known as a P-type orbit, which means that you got your 2 suns in the middle and the planets all go around them. You have a couple others. You have the T-type, which is the planet goes between the L4 and L5 points. And then you have an S-type orbit as well, where you have the 2 suns, but the planets only rotate around one of the suns. But this is not any of those. This is a P-type. Planets go around all of them. It's pretty great. So the first successful transit to Baker was in 2522, and the jump point to Baker was discovered by accident from the Keel system. Now, as I'm talking about here, you hardcore lore nuts might be noticing that some of the facts I'm laying out today disagree slightly with the old galactic guides. And we've mentioned it before, part of our process now, as we get these systems farther along, as we get more of the science in, as we lay out our timelines and stuff, we're going to be going back and adjusting them to bring them all up to date with the newest, freshest, juiciest lore. So keep an eye out for those galactic guide revisions. Now, after its discovery, it was relatively forgotten because of the fact it was a binary star. These binary stars make it very hard to terraform these planets for humans to go visit here because they might be ripped apart by gravity stress and all sorts of other nastiness. There is a Sadaball team out here, the Baker Custlers. They're part of the Territorial League. So even in the darkest parts of the UEE, people still love playing Sadaball. So now that we got these beautiful suns out of the way, these glowing twin pair, let's talk about our first inner planet, Baker 1. So you can see there, Baker 1 is a small planet with a dense iron core. It's got almost no mantle, and it is dangerously close, I say dangerously close, to the stars as it rotates in, which makes it very difficult for us to go visit because of the extreme environmental concerns that relate from being so close to a star. So you're going to want to be careful, put on some extra plating, shielding as you go there. It has an unstable orbital trajectory, and scientists are predicting that eventually, maybe over 150 or so million years, it will be consumed by the stars. So go visit Baker 1 while you still can. From there, we're going to move back out and we're going to go visit Baker 2. Now, Baker 2 is a typical smog planet. It's kind of similar to Sol's very own Venus. It's got a sickly yellow-green color and a dense, highly poisonous and corrosive atmosphere. And that's kind of why Baker 2 is not good for human life either. The toxic atmosphere is so corrosive that even like standard spacecraft hulls begin to deteriorate once they enter the surface. So if you're visiting there, you have to like pay really close attention and use extra precautions against that atmosphere. Recently, there was a bit of a news story that broke when a freelancer was piloted by a successful gun runner, tried to hide out in Baker 2 and ended up dissolving and crashing onto the surface. So, scary stuff. From there, we're going to head on out to, way farther away, to Baker 3. Scroll button. There it is. Baker 3 is an ice giant. Now, the reason why they're known as ice giants is that a lot of the compounds that were formed were in ice states or part of trapped in water ice or ices themselves when the planet formed. And that is why they're known as ice giants. They're different than the normal giants you encounter. And an interesting point here is that the planet's circumference has been growing a little bit since its discovery, so scientists are kind of curious why that's happening and keeping an eye on it, trying to figure out why. Mystery there. So from there, we're going to go to kind of our first main human settlement in Baker, which is right here, the Kovalak shipping hub, Xenia. So let's zoom in. Ooh. Now, this shipping hub was built all the way out here. There isn't much going on here, but what it does have going for it is that Baker is a transitory point towards Xi'an space. And because it was a relatively remote area, it was very useful for Kovalaks to use that points because they could keep the kind of fees lower here and the import taxes and avoid some of that. So it's not unusual for Kovalaks to bring in large shipments from Xi'an space and then have them distributed to kind of local haulers to go back into the UEE. So there's a lot of work to be found for people who are into cargo shipping out here. Not the fanciest work, but good steady work. On the station itself, there's a couple Kovalaks offices, there's an FTL courier station. You know, you can expect to find like a Kelto convenience store where you can load up on snacks and sodas for your long journey to and from. And there's a repair shop, most likely, you know, where you'll be able to get fixed up before you head back out on the long haul. And even a bar where the shippers like to hang out called the Torchlight Express. So it's a local watering hole run by an ex-miner. He's a gruff but friendly guy, so hopefully you'll get to meet him sometime soon. And that's the Kovalak shipping hub. The next interesting point in the system is Baker 4. Let's take a look. Now, Baker 4 has no atmosphere or metallic. Baker 4 has no atmosphere or magnetic field, but it's home to some pretty awesome mineral deposits and is an active Shubin interstellar mining site right now known as GEO. So they have acquired mining rights to the majority of the planet and have a major mining station built onto the surface, which is the main stopping point for most people visiting the planet. There are a couple stores and stops in there, you know, the basic kind of repair and TDD and basic Shubin security, a bar, of course, where the miners like to go hang out. And this is also, we mentioned in our series, Mining Rocks, that this is where Bernadette Klent, who is a beam operator, operated out of here. She celebrated her 50th anniversary with Shubin, so a long-time beam operator. And she's known for her cocoa cherry bars. So maybe she's someone you can run into out here working the job. Geo was also home to the 2945 Shubin Mine Rescue Challenge, where miners got together and competed in different rescue challenges, such as zero-G accident rescue, firefighting, high-angle vertical rescue, search and rescue, and all that, just to show off their skills in kind of a fun setting. And so it was held in Baker for the last year. So now that we've kind of covered all the planets, it's time to talk about the big, juicy draw of the Baker system, which is none other than the Able-Baker Challenge, what many call one of the most dangerous underground races in the Empire. So they really use the local environment to set up a challenging race course that changes every year. So sometimes in previous races, they've had to, navigate around Baker 1, which is very dangerous because of how close it is to the sun. They've had to go to Baker 3, which is an ice giant, navigate the frost fields there. They've had to breathe the vapors, which is what they call when you have to skirt towards Baker 2's corrosive environment, which can be really dangerous. And often the events include weapon-free rounds, where it's totally allowed for pilots to open fire and shoot each other, even though killing other participants is frowned upon. Most of the time you're just looking to disable the ships. So something for amateur pilots to look out for when joining the Able-Baker Challenge is that a lot of the times they have a weapons-free course where pilots can open fire at each other. And it's frowned upon to kill each other, but anything goes out here, kind of this little bit of lawless slice of UE space. It's not an official race by any means, so you consider entering it at your very own risk. So that's about it for the Baker. There's a couple real interesting spots right there to draw you in to have a look, and there's a lot, probably more left to be discovered. So I hope you enjoyed taking this look with us today in Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I look forward to seeing you out in the verse. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.